The DA has conducted an oversight inspection at the offices of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme in Cape Town. Well, for more on this story, we cross to SABC News Reporter Lulama Matya. Very good afternoon, Lulama. Just tell us what's happening where you are.
Good afternoon, Nompo, and the viewers at home. We are at the NSFAS offices in Cape Town, where the DA conducted an oversight visit on the preparedness of the scheme to distribute funds to students for the academic year 2024. I am joined by DA MP Lerato Khakhawu. Ma'am, are you satisfied with the answers that NSFAS management gave you today?
Absolutely not. NSFAS was unable to give us any clarity and assurance that they are ready to cater for students in this academic year. They do not know whether the defunded 20,000 students who were defunded in the previous academic year, when all of them are going to be funded and whether they're going to be funded at all. All they could say is that they paid some institutions, but we don't know how many students are still affected. And that time students are registering as we speak across campuses and they need to sort out their academics. The second problem that we have with their responses is they do not have a clear plan on the accreditation of student accommodation as it is right now. Students are going to be stranded yet again across campuses, not having places to sleep as we saw in the previous academic year. And if they do have places to sleep, those places are going to be of poor quality, and that's a problem. As far as the funding model that Minister Nzimande introduced yesterday, it was clear that the minister lied to the Republic because NSFAS does not have that plan. We asked for that plan. It does not exist. They do not know how it's supposed to be rolled out. They also do not understand where the money is going to come from, particularly because just 2 months ago, the Minister of Finance communicated to Parliament clearly that we have a 1.1 billion shortfall, where we have 87,000 students who are not going to be funded. Suddenly, there's a lump sum of amounts of money that are available that still there's no clarity of where that money is going to come from. So our concern as the Democratic Alliance is that NSFAS still does not have the capacity to roll out distribution and catering for its current cohort of beneficiaries, let alone the next batch. They are not ready. Their portals are still inaccessible. Students are still unable to clearly find out what their statuses are. NSFAS still is unable to tell us what their IT infrastructure is going to look like as far as the improvement and the beefing up of capacity with their call centers as well, which is another problem that we raised as the Democratic Alliance. We're not happy.
You're not happy. So what's the next step as the DA so that you can get the answers that you want? What are you going to do?
So the answers that we want is we demand, one, the Portfolio Committee of Higher Education, Science and Innovation must summon NSFAS to deal with this problem as a matter of urgency. And while that happens, we've been clear to give an order to President Ramaphosa to say, in the meantime, fire Minister Nzimande with immediate effect because he is not qualified for his job. He's out of depth. He's out of touch with the lived realities of students. And the reason why NSFAS and DHET are able to run their houses like Mickey Mouse houses is because the minister himself does not have the capacity to give a clear direction of compassion that deals with the issues of students. That's the second thing that we want. We also want to make sure that the board is capacitated. We do not have faith in the current board of NSFAS. We do not have faith in the current executive of NSFAS. The appointment of Professor van Staden does not deal with the problem at all. If anything, what Minister Nzimande did there is he took a rotten apple out of the same basket and replaced its position with an apple within the same basket. That does not solve the problem at all. The bottom line is NSFAS still does not have the capacity to cater for students, and until that works, we are not happy. We laid criminal charges last week where we asked SABC to enter into an investigation for the corrupt dealings made by Dr. Khoza, as well as Minister Nzimande and everybody else. We want that investigation. We did not hear from NSFAS today what the outcomes or where the progress of that investigation is. We want to hear that. We've also written to the SIU and President Ramaphosa to make sure that the scope of the SIU investigation includes the corrupt dealings that have been mentioned by Outer. But our primary concern is that the four companies that were tasked with distributing funds last year are the same funds that are going to be distributing funds to students this year. We've seen that they're incapable. So how are we supposed to have faith that things are going to be better in 2024?
You don't have faith in those companies that are distributing funds. So as the Democratic Alliance, do you have a proposal of how the disbursement should go about?
Our proposal was that it was very clear. We have a comprehensive funding model, a tiered funding model that speaks to collaborative efforts with the private sector to make sure that, one, we deal with loopholes of corruption, of capture within the state. That is one. Number two, we've also tabled alternative ways of identifying which students are supposed to be eligible for funding. In our funding model, we have identified that there's supposed to be 100% funding for students that are within an annual income of 0 to 180,000 rand, and then 181 rand and 350 were supposed to give them 66% funding, and then from 350 to 1 rand to 600,000 rand, they're supposed to get 33% with a clear loan system that comes back up. These are alternatives that we've set up from the onset, that all they need to do is to copy and paste. But even if they were to copy and paste our model as given, the problem is they do not have the capacity in-house to roll it out. And this is why the whole house needs to be swept clean. We need an appointment of fit-for-purpose people who are not appointed on the basis of their political alliances, but are appointed on the basis of their competence and their compassion for students.
Thank you very much, Nompu. Let's leave it at that. That was the DAMP speaking for education matters in Parliament, Lerato Khakau, saying that they are not satisfied at all with the answers they received today from the NSFAS management after conducting an oversight visit here at the offices of NSFAS. The role of Parliament, Nompu, is to conduct and make and demand accountability from government departments as well as entities that report to Parliament. They are not happy, and they are saying that the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education must summon NSFAS urgently to Parliament to account on these issues. With that, back to you at the studio.
Thanks very much, my colleague there, Lulama Matya.